healing through anniversary grief, and I'm going to open up with the Akashic Masters and see what they have to say today about that. And part of the reason I'm doing this today is it is actually the 20th anniversary of the passing of a close friend of mine. And so there's ongoing process that happens with the death of anyone, and with those who are particularly close to you, it can bring up any range of emotions from different types, ranges of grief and sadness, open up ranges of memories. And one of the things that it has taught me as I've gone through, especially with this friend, a very close friend of mine, here, I'll show you a picture actually, is this was taken the week before, maybe 10 days before she passed away. So I'm so fortunate to have that picture. I can actually feel her arms around me, especially when I really sink in and invite that feeling in. And so a group of us, I put together a gathering for a group of us. We all taught together. We were students and taught together at the Barbara Brennan School. And Barbara Swartz and I were roommates for those 10 years that we were both at the school. And it was really an extraordinary homecoming in a lot of ways. Our friend Barbara I could feel her really happy. It was actually at her prompting to do this gathering. And so it's filled with so much, memories and some new ways of thinking about some things, new decisions about how to move through this. So let me open up with the Akashic Masters and see what they have to say. So, and as you're watching, you can just take a deep breath and invite your heart to make an even deeper soul connection. As we invite the divine lords, those divine beings of the most radiant and highest of light and love, that of unconditional love, to please help us center fully in this moment as we are creating this sacred space. And we ask and invite to be wrapped and enveloped in this beautiful radiant light and love and protection as we travel and enter into these realms, as these realms open, as we invite the opening of these realms into our present day connections. And help us as we open our multidimensional hearts into divine love, into this most radiant light and love, this light and love that is surrounding us all the time, but that we don't always fully tap into, that we don't always allow ourselves to open and release into, to feel. And so in doing so, please help us to release all resistance, whatever slows us down from feeling your presence, whatever blocks us, whatever stops us from feeling that presence of you, this divine source, these divine connections. That we are guided into our deepest truths, that we are guided into opening into these most beautiful realms that are available here for us in the present day, in the present physical space, when we seek that out, as we seek that out, as we are willing to open, as we are willing to feel, hear, see, connect. giving such thanks for this time together. And so in this anniversary, I'm seeking information for us as a collective, for anyone who is or has or will be experiencing the anniversary of some beloved's passing, whether that be an animal or a person, or even a situation, even like the closing of something that you've had in life, and the as you transition into the opening of what's next. And so what information, what healing would be useful for us to guide us in this journey, for us to remember, to know? So the first thing that I'm hearing them say is that it is important to continuously remind yourselves that you are indeed more than you in this physical body, and you in this physical mind, even how you think and how you feel, that there is more to you than just this, just as there is more to your friend, your beloved, your animal, your human who has transitioned their consciousness out of their physical body and has released their physical body, so that their soul, their spirit, is free from the encumberdness of that physical body, where they're saying all things are possible, where they're saying that the connection is possible in this physical realm, and to remember, in this remembering that we are greater than this, that we can also acknowledge, remember, call in, invite, as you have just now, this connection, this expansion, this opening, this sensing of contact with those who you have loved. And they're showing me like a reflection of conversations that I have with people, or have had with people, where people will say these very common things that I hear people say. I thought that they had moved on. I didn't think that they were still available, or why would they want to still be in touch with me? Like, why, how can they still be in touch with me? How is that even possible? And then, so they're saying that it is true that as souls transition out of the physical realm, that their consciousness has the capacity to continue to change, grow, and evolve, just as you do here in your physical body and being. But that, and so in that expansion, the way in which you sense and feel your beloved connection may shift and change. It may not always feel exactly the same. And that is where so many people get caught in thinking that they have disconnected, because they're saying, the guides are saying that you look for your contact, your way of being in contact in the same way that you knew them in the physical. And that won't happen because they're not in their physical body. And so you must give allowance for the way in which you connect to shift and change and grow and evolve. And part of what keeps you in the pain of missing them is exactly that, how you look for them and you go to find them through an old cord in the way that cord was connected, and they're not present, and it emphasizes that sense of loss. But this is not the way in which you have to continue. And in that movement and processing and of this relationship, it can evolve and grow and change, and it will feel different. But that you can definitely, they're saying, and are welcome to and invited to allow that connection to shift, grow, and change, if you desire. And there is great healing, tremendous healing for you in your heart and in your, that will affect in a positive way all of your relationships in the physical, that it will only enrich your relationships and can help set so much free of old patterning and old ways and old habits of how you have related to people. And they're saying that many people fear that change, and yet that is part of what you're here for. That is part of what you're here to understand and here to experience, is that shifting and changing and growth. So I'm pausing and just waiting to see. I don't have another question that's popping into my mind, and I'm just waiting to see if they're having something else to say at this point about that. So I'm just asking about, on anniversaries, what kinds of things are they recommending for soothing and comforting? So they're saying that there's an abundance of things for you to do, if that is something that is meaningful for you, that can help mark the occasion. And it also depends on what it is that you seek to, what your intention is in experiencing this anniversary, that you can look for a way to grow through where it is that you are at that particular anniversary. It can be for learning something new, and it can be simply for marking the occasion and using it as a time to reflect the beauty, the positive, the welcomed things that you had experienced in that relationship. It can be used to help make sense out of where you are in your lifetime now. You can use it to even converse with those that you have loved by speaking out loud. And I know, this is Sandy speaking now, that when I recommend people doing that, some people will say, well, I do talk with them all the time. And others will say, will be surprised at that and think that it sounds weird or awkward even. And it's what the guides are saying about speaking out loud to somebody that you've loved that's passed on, is that it can help to open your heart. That is the first and foremost thing. And if when you speak out loud, tears come or a range of emotions wash through, you can use that to help rinse your heart, in a sense, to rinse and open those channels inside your heart for connection, for and with yourself, as well as with those in your current life, although it might not seem like that's possible by remembering and talking out loud with somebody that you've loved who's passed on. But that indeed, anytime what they're saying is, this is great, anytime that you let movement wash through your heart and are in relation with someone, whether they're in their body or not, that you have the opportunity to facilitate that clearing with anyone and all of your relationships. And so it is abundantly encouraged, they're saying. And if you feel awkward, to do it in private moments where where other people aren't around, or where you're out in nature, or where you go and visit, for instance, like a gravesite or a tree that you've planted, or a flower bed that you've planted, or go on into the bathroom where it's private, but to find that space and time that is meaningful for you, in a way that is helpful for you, that creates that space for yourself to be able to do that and to give yourself that permission. And that each time that you do that, they're saying it is of benefit to your heart and is of benefit to your relationships. So I was just asking, what if someone wants to use an anniversary of someone's passing to either open up their spiritual connection, to receive guidance or learning from that person. And what they're saying is that they're just like this sense of like this full steam go ahead, of course, to do that. And so I'm asking for people who might not have done that before, what could they do? And they're indicating first, just make that decision that that is something that you'd like to do. And ask in your heart what would be a meaningful way for you to do that. What would you, and to perhaps write down in conversation, write down in your journal as if in a conversation, what kinds of things you would like guidance on, what kinds of things, what kinds of questions you might have, and let yourself start writing and see what happens without editing. Or go take a walk and ask those questions and see what happens. You may notice, and ask for clear information, ask for clear signals, ask for clear signs. And for some of you, depending upon where you are in your stage of growth and familiarity and openness with this type of thing, you may receive information immediately. And for some, you may find that on your walk, that a bird swoops in, and or that something happens in nature around you, or you find a feather on the ground, or somebody says something to you in the next conversation that is like startling, and you're like, oh my God, that's what that person used to say. Or an animal. This is a common thing with people with animals, that one of their animals who is now currently in their body does something that reminds you of the animal, or somebody in your family or a friend does or says something in a mannerism that's similar to your beloved. So those are some great tips and ways of connecting and things for you to do to help hold yourself and feel kindness and compassion towards yourself in these times, to walk gently, to be in awareness, to bring that consciousness to your connection, facilitating your growth, facilitating your own ability to be with this shifting, this passage, this transition, this anniversary, and all of what it is and can be for you. So I'm Sandy Rakowitz, and if you're welcome to have an individual session or coaching in this work with your connection with animals and animal communication, and learning more about what your soul path is, and working with your business. And I'll be sharing more about some new classes and programs that I have coming up that are really exciting. And if you're not already on my email list, please go to my website, onehearthealingcenter.com. That's spelled out O-N-E, onehearthealingcenter.com, so that you can get other updates and tips and animal wisdoms and see what's happening next. And there's lots of information on my website, onehearthealingcenter.com. And thank you for joining.